I've got a story for you today. Today I'm going to be walking you through the 1 year when I went from earning nothing with my blog, with my YouTube channel, with my online business, to earning 6 figures. It was a crazy year and a lot happened. So I've got my laptop right here because I had to pull up a lot of numbers from my bank accounts and from my email marketing software that I use to sell things and all sorts of things like that so that I could actually tell you what happened because I don't remember all the details. So if you're new here, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Gillian Perkins. Nice to meet you. Let's get into this story. One thing I think you should know is that all the numbers I'm going to be sharing in this story are gross revenue numbers, which means they're not my take-home profit. They are the total amount that I earned. However, as you'll hear in the story, I ended up earning about $150,000 gross in this year, which, by the way, this year that I'm referring to is the year 2018. That's the year that I went from 0 to 6 figures. I ended up earning $150,000 that year, and I took home almost $100,000. So I didn't quite profit 6 figures, but very, very close. Okay, the other thing I think you should know is that when I started 2018, it wasn't my first year in business by any means, or at least my first year trying to be in business. I had started blogging about 2 years before that and posting on social media, but I wasn't really earning anything at all. Every once in a while, I would make a random sale, but no consistent income whatsoever. But I just want you to know, this wasn't my first year blogging. Okay, so let's kind of set the stage here. Because it wasn't my first year, I had been doing some work for a couple of years prior. At the beginning of 2017, I had an email list of about 300 people, and I was getting a couple thousand page views on my website every month, which meant that a couple thousand people every month were visiting my website. But like I said, it wasn't turning into any sales, wasn't growing my email list, really nothing was happening because of that. So then in May of 2017, I started my YouTube channel. Now, that helped a lot because my YouTube channel did start growing pretty quickly. So by the end of 2017, my YouTube channel had hit 27,000 subscribers, which had grown my email list to 2,500, and it was definitely impacting my blog traffic as well. By the end of 2017, I was getting between 15 and 20,000 page views per month, which was really cool. So that's where I was at the start of 2018. Again, 2018 is the year that my income finally took off. So let me walk you through what happened in 2018 that took me to 6 figures. First of all, this isn't exactly something that happened, but I made YouTube videos twice every week, every single week throughout 2018. And I do think that that is one of the primary factors that drove me to success. It's not something that directly made me a whole lot of money, but it definitely fueled all the other fires. That seems like a strange analogy here, but it definitely was like the gas for everything else that I was doing. Okay, so in January through March of 2018, what I did was each month I launched a workshop. These workshops were live online events where I taught people how to do something. Some of the topics were how to start a YouTube channel, how to start a blog, how to self-publish a book, just all things that I had done before. And the reason that I decided to do this was because I had created online courses in the past and then made 0 sales. So I invested a ton of time and effort into making a big online course only to find out people didn't want it. So I decided to slow down, back up, and not try to do something so big and so grand, but instead just make these little online live workshops. They were just about an hour long each. I charged people about $29 to attend the workshop, and then they got the replay of it afterwards. And as you would expect, some of these workshops were more popular and others were less popular, but it allowed me to test a bunch of different ideas and see what people were really interested in buying from me. So this was basically how I did my market research. Like I said, I did this each month from January through March, and I'd actually done one in December of 2017 also. So January, February, March. And so this actually worked really well. I didn't make a ton of money from this by any means. I would have anywhere between about 10 and 100 people decide to join the workshops. And so I would make somewhere between about like $300 up to $3,000 for each one. So I was starting to earn some money. But then in the month of April, I was going to do one about how to build a YouTube channel, like how to get views on YouTube, how to grow subscribers on YouTube, because my YouTube channel was growing so quickly and people wanted to learn that. But what happened was that this workshop, I ended up just trying to pack way too much into it. I decided to not do it live, but to pre-record it because, like I said, there was just so much to share and I didn't want it to be like a 3-hour long live session or something like that. So I told everyone, hold up, this is coming, but you need to be patient for just a minute because I'm going to pre-record it. I'm going to make it better quality than the live workshops have been. So that's what I worked on, but that took a little bit more time, of course, and we were also like moving in the midst of this, and it was a crazy time. So I released that workshop a month later than originally planned in May, and a few interesting things happened. That workshop that just got bigger and bigger and better, and I ended up, editing all the videos and everything. It ended up becoming the first lessons inside the course channel launch that I sell today. Now we've expanded the course so much since then, but that was the foundation of it. It also was one of the most popular of these live workshops that I sold. And I sold it at a slightly higher price. So that earned me a few $1,000s in the month of May. So at this point in 2018, I definitely did not think that I was going to hit 6 figures that year. I hadn't really been planning on it. I was just hoping that I could start earning some money. That's what I've been hoping every year up until that point, and I was still hoping that. I definitely saw that things were starting to get on the right track, so that was really cool. But we were already in month 5 of the year, and I had earned less than $10,000 at this point, so it didn't really look like I was going to hit 6 figures. But there was something else that I was working on behind the scenes that I was hoping would work really well. And what it was Startup Society. Now, Startup Society is a membership program that I run to this day. It's kind of a spoiler here, the fact that I still run it. But I had this idea for so long to start a membership program for online entrepreneurs to teach them the basics of like how to start a business. Because even though I was struggling with getting my online business off the ground, I had started several local businesses in the past, and I wanted to teach people just the basics of like how to start a business, how to work for yourself, that sort of thing, and to create a community for those people. But I wasn't really sure what exactly I wanted it to look like, how I wanted it to be different than other similar programs that were out there, and I didn't have an audience to launch it to. But one of the workshops that I launched when I was launching those initial workshops was about how to get started with an online business. And it was a really popular workshop. It was the most popular workshop I did. And so I thought, okay, my audience definitely is interested in this topic, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna launch this membership site. So right after I channel launched the workshop in May, I immediately started working on creating the Startup Society membership platform and putting it all together. And I was totally DIYing it at this point, just building it inside my current existing website, doing it all, like I said, DIY. I was doing it all myself and just putting things together, making it work, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I just tried. And I launched it in June. And the launch hit, sometimes when you do a launch or you have a goal, you have like a minimum threshold goal, and then you have a base like regular goal, and then you'll have a push goal. The launch hit my push goal, which was to get 300 members into Startup Society, which was so amazing and just obviously beyond my expectations. Now, funny story, I hadn't really I don't know what I planned first, but I was going to VidCon because something else I was trying to do in 2018 was to get out more and to network more and to go to different conferences and kind of like find my people in the real world, because I'd been blogging, like I said, for over 2 years at this point, and I didn't really know anyone else who was in my industry, especially as my YouTube channel was growing so much. I felt like I should start to make connections with other people who did what I did. So I had planned to go to VidCon. And just the way the schedules worked out, I was launching Startup Society, and then the week immediately following, like launch closes on this day, and on the same day, I'm leaving to go to VidCon. And I was thinking, No problem. Like, why would that be a problem? It was a problem. It all worked out, but it was crazy. I flew to VidCon, and that entire week that I was there in Los Angeles, I was glued to my laptop answering all the questions that were coming. Questions from the launch where people were asking me questions about what was in Startup Society, what was included, what did they get, but also dealing with all the new members because I wanted to support them. I wanted to make sure they had a great experience. This was the first time I ever launched the program. It was a crazy week. I worked 40 hours that week while I was traveling, and most of that time was answering emails. My fingers were going to fall off. Anyway, so that went really well. And when I first launched Startup Society, that initial launch earned $10,000. So right there in the month of June, I doubled my profits, or at least my revenue for the entire year so far. And because Startup Society was a membership program, I created a recurring monthly revenue stream, which meant that every month I would bring in another $10,000 with taking into account churn, which means some members, of course, would discontinue the program. But I was going to be earning most of $10,000 every month for the rest of the year, which if you think for just a moment, if that happened for a whole year, that would be 6 figures right there. But obviously I'd launched it in June, so I only had half of the year to be earning from that. Okay, so that was what I did in June, and that was definitely the climax of the actions I took. And honestly, between the ad revenue that I was earning from YouTube at this point, and now that revenue from Startup Society, and the revenue from the channel launch course that I was continuing to sell as I was continuing to improve it, that alone would have taken me basically to 6 figures in gross revenue, to right about $100,000. I did a few things later in the year that pushed me even higher, all the way up to that 150 mark. Let's talk about that now. So in July, I hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's not really something I did, but that's something that happened. Like I said, that was from posting 2 videos every single week and then executing what I teach people to do in the channel launch program. And so it was 15 months since I had started my channel, and we hit 100,000 subscribers. And at that point, I didn't write this down exactly, but I was earning between $2,000 and $4,000 per month in ad revenue. I think it was probably about $2,500. I'll see if I can find a screenshot and I'll pop it up here if I can find that. But yeah, about $2,500 or so in ad revenue. And then in July, I also relaunched Channel Launch because I didn't have an evergreen funnel at that point, which means a system for constantly selling it. So I had launched it in May, and then nobody else could buy it until I once again put it up for sale. So I did that in July, which earned a few more $1,000s. Then from August to December, this is kind of what happened. Now, as I mentioned, by the end of July, I was already on track to hit 6 figures. And so I was really just focused on quality over quantity. I wasn't so much worried about making more money. I'd already paid my bills for the year, right? So instead, I just wanted to make sure that those customers that I had attracted and converted into customers at that point ended up being really, really happy with what they had bought from me to work on strengthening my business. So I was really focused in that last third of the year, just on serving them, on making sure I answered all their questions as quickly and as well as I could, and helping them, really coaching them, just providing them with anything and everything they needed. And then the other thing that I was focused on, which was kind of the same thing, was creating content for Startup Society, because Startup Society is a membership program. So every single month we make a new module essentially of content there. When I first launched Startup Society, what I did was every month I made another workshop, just like I had done in the first few months of the year. But the workshops, this is kind of going off on a tangent, but the workshops basically just ended up consistently getting bigger and bigger and better and being full-on online courses, which was great, but it wasn't sustainable to create an entire online course every single month. And it was also way, way, way more content than the members could deal with. So even though the value on paper was getting bigger and bigger as they were getting access to new online courses that had a high value, it wasn't becoming more and more valuable to them because they just couldn't work through the material that fast. So at the very end of 2018, kind of skipping ahead here, but at the end of 2018, I ended up like reworking how Startup Society was run entirely and created the action plan model. Yes, the action plan model, where every month we create an action plan that's like a micro mini online course that's just 4 lessons to achieve a very specific outcome. So for example, like one month we might guide the members in the action plan to create and launch an opt-in offer, which is just something to grow their list. Or we might help them create their first digital product or launch their first digital product or start their YouTube channel or create or like automate their social media marketing or something like that. So like a very specific outcome to grow their online business. And that works way better now than the way I was running it at first. But because of the way I was running it at first, August through December, I was smashed with getting out these online courses every month, so I hardly had time to launch anything else. So because of that, the only other thing that I did end up launching or promoting in 2018 was an affiliate launch with Teachable. So Teachable has this awesome annual summit where they teach people all sorts of things about how to become a course creator, and they interview a lot of really successful course creators about how to like decide on a course topic and how to organize your curriculum and how to launch your course and all sorts of cool things like that. Anyway, and so I partnered with them for their summit event that they do, and it was really cool because this was my first affiliate event that I had done where like ever since my audience had started growing. And so I really had no idea what to expect. My previous experience with affiliate marketing had been very lackluster. Basically, I'd made no money. But when I did this with Teachable, not only did my audience love it, but they were also, basically they loved it. And it's a great event, and Teachable has a great product. And so because my audience had grown and because they loved it, it worked really well for me. And because of those two things, I actually ended up winning the affiliate contest. And what that means is basically just that I got the most people to sign up for Teachable's event. And that earned me $1,000. And then on top of that, they also did like a random drawing where they drew a name out of a hat and picked someone to win an additional $250. And I happened to win that too, which was really cool. So I earned that money, and then I also earned the affiliate commissions, which is my percentage that I earned for anyone who went on to actually purchase a Teachable subscription. And altogether that ended up being about $2,000 in the month of October, which the best thing about this was how much my audience loved the event that Teachable put on and how much value they got out of it. I got so many thank you emails from people thanking me for telling them about the event. And that always makes it feel the very best when you earn money and you have helped people and they tell you thank you for this. It just feels so amazing. Anyway, and not only had I earned that $2,000, but I'd also created about $500 or so in monthly recurring revenue, because Teachable is a software subscription, which means their customers keep paying them month after month to continue to be able to use the software. And so every month I get a small commission for the people who have signed up after I referred them to Teachable. So that was basically the last thing that I did in 2018 to make any money. The only other thing that I was focused on was in December, I was gearing up for relaunching Startup Society. Because since I'd launched the program in June, I hadn't opened it up to any new members. We had closed down registration because I was so focused on just like serving those initial members and figuring out what was working about the program and what wasn't so that we knew how to improve. And so we didn't open it up until January of 2019 again. And so in December, I was just preparing for that launch. Okay, so that's everything that happened in 2018. Let's talk about now the results that created. So first of all, my YouTube channel. As I mentioned at the beginning of 2018, it was at 27,000 subscribers. By the end of 2018, it was at 165,000 subscribers. That's a massive growth. It surprised even me. I mean, I was optimistic about it, but I did not think it could or would grow that much in just 1 year. My email list also grew a lot, from 2,500 subscribers at the beginning of the year to 14,000 subscribers at the end of 2018. And my blog traffic increased from between 15 and 20,000 page views at the beginning of the year to 40 to 50,000 page views by the end of the year. So long story short, my audience grew a lot in 2018, which played a big part in me being able to earn the money that I did, and it also really set my business up for even more success in the future. So now let's talk about those revenue numbers. Here is what I earned in 2018, and it was very evenly divided between 3 main categories. First one was YouTube. My YouTube channel from ads alone earned $44,000 in 2018. So this is simply from people watching my videos, clicking on the ads, and me getting that commission from YouTube for having those ads play on my videos. As I've said plenty of times, I would very happily make videos on YouTube just for the brand building alone, for the exposure it gives my business, even if they didn't pay me at all. Don't tell YouTube. But it's really cool that you also get to earn significant income from having a YouTube channel as well. So $44,000 from YouTube, then Startup Society earned me $46,000. As I mentioned, I launched Startup Society in June. It earned $10,000 that first month, but then I didn't let anyone else in, so every single month after that is earning a little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit less. I think that by the end of the year, we had lost about 50% of the members. Like I said, first year was pretty rough, still figuring out how to run the program, what the content should be, all that sort of thing. I was honestly super happy to still have 50% of the members sticking around. So that earned me $46,000. And then other revenue is my final big bucket. And this is the channel launch course. It's the other workshops I sold. It's affiliate income, all of that. Altogether earned $49,000 in 2018. So altogether in 2018, my business earned $139,000. And like I said, at the beginning of the year, we really weren't earning anything. The only money that I was earning before that was the first couple checks I had gotten from YouTube and the occasional sale of one of the services that my online business offered, but it was less than $1,000 per month for sure. Some months absolutely zero, and even on the months that it was more, it was still less than $1,000. So massive increase in 1 year. Like I said, this was not my first year trying to make a living with my blog, with my YouTube channel, with my online business. Took a lot of trial and error before this. So if you're just getting started, don't expect to go from 0 to 100,000 in your first year. It could happen, especially if you learn from like a lot of my mistakes and other people's mistakes. But just don't expect it, because it normally takes some time, it takes some trial and error to figure out what really works to grow your audience and to be making money. But I hope that this is interesting to you and encouraging and inspiring and kind of shows you what's possible when that ball does finally start rolling and you finally start finding some things that work. If you have any questions about any of this, I am a very open book, so just comment down below, let me know. Questions about anything I did, how I did any of these things, any of the numbers, if any of it wasn't clear. Like I said, these were gross revenue numbers, FYI, disclaimer. But as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I was able to keep about 90,000 of this as profit for myself. And then I paid about 15-20% in taxes. So just some things to keep in mind. Obviously, when you're working for yourself, that you have to still pay taxes just like everyone else, and they come out at the end of the year instead of with each paycheck, as when you have a regular job. You don't necessarily pay more in taxes, it just is taken out at different times and in different ways. So yeah, all just things to keep in mind, but I was so happy that year, to go from not earning anything from my efforts to being able to fully support myself. So any questions down below, and I will get you answers as much as I can. I always try to be in the comments as much as I can and answer as many of them as I can. And if you want to learn more about how to work for yourself, work from home, run an online business, then make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I make a new video every single week. Comes out every single Tuesday morning. You can ring that bell to get notified so you don't miss the next one. And I'd love to see you at that point, or have you see me. I would love for you to get to watch that next video. That's what it really comes down to. Thanks so much for joining me for this one, and I'll see you next time.